Hey, it's Diana of Cauldron & Craft. In today's video, I want to make something, I want to sew something, because I haven't sewn anything for myself in over a year, going on 2 years maybe. I've sewn a couple of aprons for friends for holidays, and I think the last thing I made for myself was a medieval Wonder Woman costume. And I've gotten out of the habit of sewing for many reasons, but I thought I would break that stretch of not sewing anything for myself today by starting sewing something. And I really want an apron because I only have one apron really that I also made, and it was one of my early sewing projects. I wanted a cute apron for Thanksgiving, and it is very cute. It's a very Thanksgiving-ish apron. I made it out of a curtain, and I made it so fast and dirty that I literally just cut the hem off of one side and sewed it on to the slightly gathered waistband, but I didn't really figure on how the edges would fray. So while it looks really cute from far away, because you can't see the back, you can't see the ties, I want a nicer apron that's a full coverage apron to work with. And the last apron I made for a friend was a really cute apron, which I'll put the pattern that I used from Etsy. And I want to make pretty much the same apron, except I want to make a couple changes to it, which I'll get to. So I thrifted this bed sheet at some point. I was a little bit disappointed because the fabric I wanted to use for my apron was the same I used for my friend's apron, and I don't have enough for that, but I did find this in my stash. And this is actually going to be even more perfect as a getting back into the swing of sewing, because sheets already have hems. So I'll be able to utilize the hems and the nice top, the folded part, so I won't have to do the fancy folding of the pockets and the top of the apron. Hopefully it's not too thick, like too wide, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So let's get started. Because I've already made this pattern before, I thought I had it printed out, but it turns out I had a smaller version that I made for my friend, and I needed to print out the larger version. So that means I had to do my absolute favorite thing and tape all the pages together and cut all the pattern pieces out. This pattern doesn't have specific pieces for the skirt part, it just provides measurements. I really wanted to be able to use one giant piece for the skirt, but I ended up having to cut 3 separate pieces. the change that I want to make to this apron, different from the pattern, which I should have thought about before I cut all these waistband pieces, because it's actually, you're supposed to cut 6 waistbands and then sew 3 together and then 3 together to be one big waistband, because it's actually also the tie in the back. But I don't want to do the tie in the back. I want to have the crisscross straps go through loops on the sides and then tie. So it's just these 2 long, really long straps, because I don't want to fool with the buttons and the buttonholes in the way the pattern describes. It looks really cute, but I just don't want to do it like that. So I need to use 2 waistbands to make the front and back waistband, and then take the other ones and attach them to the straps. They're different thicknesses, so I'm gonna have to finagle it so I don't have to cut out more pieces. But that's the way I'm gonna edit this pattern, and I'm gonna skip a couple steps on the way the pattern is written for that reason. So let's continue on. All right, I have the skirt done with the pockets. It's finished by French seam on the inside, so there's no raw edges. And now I need to either gather or pleat this to be the size of the apron. In the pictures of the pattern, it looks gathered, but in the instructions, it says to pleat it. So I'm trying to decide which will be easier. I kind of hate gathering, but then I also have to like measure for pleats. So I think I might try pleats and see how that works first and go from there. All right, what do we think? I thought it might end up looking kind of weird, but I think I like the pleats more than the gathers. I just did like a quick 1.5 inch knife pleat in opposite directions, so this is the middle and they're going out this way, which is kind of how the instructions describe it, but they do it in a weird way. I just measured with a ruler, so I think this is gonna work. Okay, so I have sewn the front side waistband and the ends. So I folded, the ends were like this, and that little tab that I sewed on the right side, I stuck the end through this end, and so when I flip it out, now I have this loop that I can loop through the strap. So I just kind of made that up. It seemed like a good idea. I'm gonna probably sew again here, and then of course when I fold over the inside waist, it'll be somewhat stable. I'm also thinking about doing like a crisscross here, even though there's no tab here. It'll help stabilize the fabric because I didn't use any kind of interfacing. All right, so here we are. Just need to do the straps and we'll be done. So basically the way I'm handling the strap slash waistband situation is this was was going to be part of the waistband if I had followed the pattern exactly as written. I sewed them together, right sides together, and then folded it over so it would be like this, and then sewed the end to the strap. So this was the strap that would have had a button in it, and I sewed the end to the old waistband, and I finished the waistband part the way the pattern reads to finish the strap, which is to kind of do the end like this, and then I have to fold in the edges and sew it and like iron it and sew it flat so it'll be a strap like this. And then that's also how I'll kind of handle the difference in width. I didn't feel like recutting anything, so I'm just gonna fold this part over a little bit more, and then we'll have 2 straps that I'll then sew to this part of the apron, and then we'll be all done. So the last thing we have to do is attach the straps to the bib of the apron. And this is the one more thing that, because I didn't follow the pattern exactly, I used the bed sheet, which already had this folded over part, that we can't attach them the way we would if we had done the pattern exactly. So in the pattern, you have to do them like this first, kind of down the back of the apron, and then you fold it over, and then you fold the strap up, and so that the end is tucked in to the top part. What I'm gonna do, I think, is I can just fold it under a little bit and then sew it onto the back like this, so that it's still folded under and clean looking, but it's not folded under the top. I think that's what I'm gonna do, and hopefully I don't break any needles, because this is a lot of layers of fabric to get through. So I probably should stick a pin in it, and then we'll actually also the way to really secure this on is to do a box around the whole, I don't know what the word I'm trying to say is, do a box, and then you do an X and you backstitch over to make sure that it's really secure, because there's going to be a lot of pull on that one particular spot. So this is what it ends up looking like with that X pattern, and that's what it looks like on the front, which I probably, no, that looks pretty clean. Doesn't look too bad. I just need to remove the loose strings. And that's it. We're all done. I'll show you how it looks. So here's the finished product. I'm super happy with it. I hope you can hear me, because I'm like so far away so I can get the whole thing in there. It's very long. Like, you can't even see the bottom. When I made this apron for someone else, I feel like I remember it being a little bit shorter, but it was a smaller size that I made for them. And I just added a couple inches on, and of course I didn't need to hem it because I was using the edge of the bed sheet. I think this part turned out really cute, because I think the thread of the top of the sheet actually looks kind of cute and like a nice little decorative touch. So the straps go through these loops on the side and crisscross, and then I can tie in the back, and that way I didn't have to do the buttons or buttonholes, and it's fully adjustable. You don't have to adjust the strap with the buttons or anything. Like, it just is what it is. It's very comfortable. It doesn't have the neck strap around here. So overall, super happy with it. The pockets, I kind of just winged the location of the pockets, and I think they turned out in a good spot, like not too deep, not too far down, and not too awkward up here. I don't like when pockets are really close up here. Throughout this whole project, I kept asking myself, do I actually even like to sew? Because it took me 3 days to make this, between having to print the pattern, having to go somewhere to get that done, then having to cut the pattern out, and having to play with my cat, and then having my cat help me with cutting out the pattern pieces. And then I spent all day today basically working on the apron here and there. I didn't do it in one whole giant stretch just because I didn't have time. So for such a simple thing, an apron is such a simple thing to make, that I was asking myself, do I even enjoy this? Is this something I even want to keep doing? And the ironing and all the little nitpicky things, all the things, I think I figured out when I was zoning out ironing and pinning and everything, I think I'm in the J curve of sewing. So you start out, you're really excited about something, you don't know what you don't know, but everything's great. And I made a bunch of stuff, and I wore it all the time. I still wear it occasionally. I work from home, so I don't have the opportunity to wear that stuff often anymore. But now I'm at the bottom where I do know more, and I realized that in order to sew things really well, you have to be very into the details. Like, the actual sewing is such a small part of a successful make. It's the measuring and the ironing. And this is just an apron. It's not even a garment like a dress or a shirt. And I do have a video planned because I want to sew some more clothes and hopefully reconnect with sewing a little bit, and hopefully come back out into the other part of the J curve where I'm proficient and I enjoy it and I'm happy with it. So I think I do still like sewing, and we will press on. So if you made it this far, thanks for hanging out. Sorry if my voice sounds weird. I don't know, it's been like this all day, so thanks for watching.